Alright, so if you clicked on this video, it's going to be a little bit different from my usual videos. This video is actually inspired by another YouTuber. I'll leave a link to his video somewhere here. But basically this video is titled, What's Wrong with the Camera Community? And this is going to be what's wrong with the camera community from my perspective. So I guess everybody's going to have different perspectives, and feel free to share your perspective in the comments. But these are just some things that I noticed that I feel is personally an issue. And I feel like if we change these things, we'd have an overall better experience for everybody. So the first thing I want to highlight is gear obsession. Now, I'm going to be totally transparent. I'm also a part of the whole gear obsession problem. Like, marketing and social media and just capitalism kind of forces us to be in this zone where we feel like we're in this constant need to be updating camera gear, to be getting the latest camera, to be buying the latest drone. And when you think about it, it really has nothing to do with the quality of your work or the quality of like what you're putting out just by upgrading cameras. Like, honestly, your camera is not a phone. You really don't need to be changing your camera every single year. And I feel like we're in this stage where everybody is always trying to, use gear as an excuse as to why we're not creating enough content, when really and truly, any tool you have available can be used. Your smartphone is perfectly capable of shooting, content. Like, the content matters way more than the actual device you're using to shoot. And most people don't even use their gear to the best of their ability. But it's just this inherent thing where everybody feels like, oh, I need to get the latest camera, I need to get the latest lens, I need to be shooting on this camera. And honestly, it's so pointless. I myself, I'm trying to get out of it. Like, just this week, I went on Amazon and I saw this new I saw this new camera, and I know for a fact that yes, there is some cool features in this camera. It's an Insta X360, which, to be fair, I know I'd use the Insta camera if I got it, but I'm like, do I really need it? Like, yes, it's gonna add some diversity to my shots, but I already have a GoPro that I'm not even using as much as I wanted to use. And if I'm gonna add a 360 to it, like, is there really a reason I need it? And I just thought to myself, honestly, I've just been consuming so much content on YouTube, so much gear reviews that are telling me that I need this camera that I probably don't actually need. So I feel like we'd be much better off if we focused a lot less on, getting as much gear as possible, and more so focusing on putting out better content. That's something I feel like is really holding back a lot of persons, including myself, because we oftentimes don't maximize our gear to the best of our abilities. I feel like if we spent less time, I mean, obviously gear matters to an extent. I'm not saying you don't need gear, but if we spent time using our cameras to the best of their abilities, we'd have a much better experience. So the next thing I want to talk about on this list is the clickiness in the camera community, whether it's photography or videography. Honestly, as someone that's, I guess, been in the game for a while, I feel like inherently I've been accepted to some extent. But there's this level of, I just don't feel this certain level of openness where everybody's, open to like sharing certain stuff, open to like interacting with other persons that may not be as connected. Because I feel like it's like who versus like, how talented you are. And I guess once you're accepted by everybody else, it's easier for them to kind of let you into the circle. But for me, I feel like art is something that is so like subjective that anybody should be able to like, be given an equal platform. Because for me personally, I won't lie to you, like, I didn't necessarily come into, I was not like in the artistic sphere before. Like, I wasn't connected with artists before. I kind of just took up photography and I went in randomly, and I was hoping that, okay, this would work. And it did. And I guess after being in it for a lot of years, you make certain acquaintances, you make certain friends. But I really wish there was just less clickiness. I want it to be a place where anybody can be given equal opportunity and not the same persons over and over. And I guess probably this isn't a photography industry only problem or videography. It might just be a general creative industry problem where it tends to be very cliquey. And I just feel like we'd be much better off if we were open, especially considering the fact that like technology is so innovative where there's lots of persons that are in the space now that couldn't have been in the space years ago. So it's the best time for everybody to just, kind of let everybody in, because regardless, we all have different styles. I'm going to shoot differently from someone else. Everybody has their own kind of flair. So it's like, why are we sticking to one aspect and just regurgitating the same set of people over and over when there's like thousands of people, millions of people out there that could be like changing the landscape for the entire game. So yeah, that's another problem that I've noticed. Another problem, I wrote this down by the way, is how unwelcoming the older photographers can be, or older like content creators, whether it's photography or videography, to like the newer generation. For me, I feel like I get it. I feel like back in the days, photographers and videographers were a very elite group of people. Like cameras weren't as cheap as they are now. The technology wasn't as readily available. You know, people didn't have like the skill set. YouTube and all these platforms weren't as big. So like a videographer was like a, you know, like a myth, like a legend. Like he was some wizard of sorts. And it's like now anybody with a smartphone will call themselves a photographer or a videographer. But it's not something to be upset about, because the reality of it is all this technology is available to everyone. I noticed this pattern, especially when you're working at certain events. Like for me, I work at sporting events sometimes. And at sporting events, you'll see like the older generation of photographers who they've been shooting for many years. And you're always like brushing heads, like they're always so annoyed and angry because I guess, you know, a newer person is there and they're, you know, getting, you know, shots, and they're like, yo, what kind of cameras is that you're using? Or, you know, why are you here? Or why you don't know this? And I'm just like, listen, you know, generations, you know, come and go. People are going to start things, like people are going to like, you know, experiment. There's no reason to be abrasive to the new generation. Like it's not slowing down, it's not stopping. So why are we at this, you know, push and pull where, why don't you just help bring the new generation so that, you know, everybody can have a smooth transition? Because the reality of it is you're not going to be doing this forever. Obviously, people have to take over. So there's always been this like, you know, animosity towards the new persons. And for me, like I've seen lots of persons jump way past certain hurdles that I have. And I had no issue. Like I've never been upset for anybody that's gotten into the game and skid past things that maybe I had to struggle with because, you know, I started a couple of years ago. It motivates me. Like any technology, the advances that happen, anything that changes in the game, I am still, as long as I'm still able to do it, I'm still in the game. So there's no reason for me to be like angry or upset at somebody that's doing what they're doing. I feel like we need to get over that whole like us versus them. It's like, yo, it's one game. We all can have enough, you know, work to go around, enough content to put out there. There's no need for us to be fighting, you know, the old generation versus the new generation. I don't even know where I lie at this point. I guess in 10 years in, I guess maybe I'm mid-generation, and maybe like 20 years is older generation. But at the end of the day, like I'm just here to enjoy my craft and help who I can help. And I'm open to helping anybody, whether they're from the old or the new generation. If we got out of that, like, you know, fighting mindset or scarcity mindset, everybody have a much better time. And the last thing I want to talk about is being business focused instead of art focused. And hear me out. This is probably the thing that I am a big component for, because for me, being totally honest, I feel like a lot of my creation journey right now is very much business focused. And it might be because of capitalism. No offense to capitalism, like we all enjoy nice things, but it's like in pursuit of earning like a sustainable living, or in pursuit of trying to like be able to have a good life, you stop doing the things that really creatively inspire you, because you're not trying to necessarily, you know, just do it for the sake of doing it, but you're trying to do it to make money. And I think there's a problem right there, because you realize that everything kind of becomes the same. It becomes what the market wants and not what you want. And a lot of the things with art is that, what is? 1 second. Yo. Dog, yeah, mash up my little YouTube video. Where you want, dog? I'm not eating shit. My day I drink some Smirnoff Ice. What's up?
No fireball.
No fire? Oh God. You're not come foreign. You're not fired up. Let's go straight back in, because cutting is very annoying. Yeah, when it comes to like business versus art, it's almost like, because we're all trying to make as much money as possible, we're not putting out the things that really mean anything to us creatively, or like to us generally. So all the work ends up looking the same way, being the same thing, and it makes the overall industry kind of boring. But again, I'm a huge factor in that equation because for me personally, I am trying to make money, so it ends up kind of regurgitating the same thing. You know, gear, it makes us focus on gear too much. It makes us focus on the same style of content. And I feel like we would benefit so much more if we were in a position to actually put out stuff that really meant something to us creatively. But this is something that everybody's gonna have to kind of struggle towards, because there has to be some kind of leo when it comes to making money. Like, I don't feel like anybody's going to be able to truly put out work as a photographer if they're not making money. So it's kind of a 50-50 situation where you have to decide, okay, I'll do this for money, but on occasion I'll still do personal projects. And we all go into the game saying that we're going to do personal projects, but we don't. Like, for me, I've had so many personal projects that I've wanted to do, and I write them down, or I write down the ideas, but they never really come to fruition. When it comes to a client job or a client execution, I will, put out whatever needs to be done. So yeah, like, I feel like those are some of the things that really are affecting us as an industry right now. And just my personal thoughts. If you have any thoughts, let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, the YouTube algorithm says that you love this video right here.